Hey folks, we are so happy to have a very special guest here at Mojave World Headquarters. It is my good friend Tom Freund.
Thank you, sir. Dusty
Bass
Wakeman.
player, multi-instrumentalist, songwriter, singer,
Thank you.
one-man record company these days, like so many artists. Welcome, Tom. It's great to have you here.
It's really nice to be here. It's cozy in the Mojave studios.
Yeah, we like it here.
Yeah.
It's small, but it's ours.
Yeah,
We like it.
It's sweet.
So I've really been wanting to get you over here as a fellow bass player.
Yes.
Although you do so much more than that. But the first time I knew of you, because we're both Venice people. We have a
Yes.
history with Venice, and we'll get to that. But was actually at one of those Graham Parsons tributes.
Yes, for sure.
Out in the desert. And you were playing in the other room, and I walked in there, and there's this guy playing upright bass and singing like incredibly well at the same time. And
Thanks, partner.
between being jealous, I was also like, oh, I got to get to know this guy. This guy's amazing. And then we kind of bumped
I probably felt the same way about you. I guess I should meet Dusty. He's a pretty great bass player, but all right.
We kind of bumped into each other over the years, and then thanks to our friend Wally,
Yes.
got to play with you, like a year ago, and start of a beautiful
Yeah.
relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Love jamming with you.
So I just want to find out a little bit about your history. I know you're like an actually schooled upright bass player. So,
Schooled, but a lot of self-taught.
yeah?
I mostly studied jazz guitar and sort of applied stuff on the upright. I had a sort of few lessons, just a couple, and sort of classical and some reading stuff. But
Right.
besides that, I really did a lot on my own and sort of tried to make my own sounds and stuff. And
Right.
I took some jazz guitar lessons from a wonderful teacher who played in the Stan Kenton band named Sal Salvador, and that was really good for my brain. And
Where was this?
that was in New York and Connecticut.
Is that where you grew up?
East Coast, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Because I know you played in some like jazz ensembles and stuff.
Yep. I did some like the Tri-State McDonald's Jazz Ensemble. That was sort of a notable thing, and it was great. And I had to read a lot. I loved being the bass in the band, and you
Right.
read the music, and you knew when you came in, it would just boom.
Right.
You felt like you were, along with the drums, really holding stuff down in a really cool way. I think that's what I always liked about the bass.
You know, I wanted to learn to play upright. My parents bought me one, I think for my 16th birthday. But at my high school, I was also in choir, and the choir teacher loved me, and the orchestra teacher hated me and my rock band. We all had music theory with her.
Yep.
And we already knew all that stuff because
Right.
we had a great guitar teacher outside of school.
Similar.
So
You're like, I'm good.
she just like
Yeah.
hated us, so I wasn't really welcome to be in the orchestra. So I kind of never really pursued it, which I regret. But I have great respect for that instrument.
Yeah. And I think part of it also, too, my dad plays piano, and my brother, who's a couple of years older than me, was playing drums. And they're like, you're going to play bass, Tom.
Right, we need a bass player.
Yeah, we need a bass player.
Well,
So
that's
there was
how we
that.
all start
Yeah,
playing bass,
yeah.
right? It's like, well, you can be in the band, but you got to play bass, and that's how it
I
started.
think I
for
wanted
me.
to play drums. My brother was like, no way, buddy. There ain't room enough for two.
Right.
But so I was in a way, very happy that I got presented with strings.
Right.
And then I did start gigging, too, right away. I was like underage. I can say it now. I was underage gigging in clubs in Manhattan.
They tell
'Cause
you to stay in the back
They
room.
needed a bass player,
Right.
And so it was great. I was like cruising around jazz clubs. Very fun,
Wow.
very fun.
That must have been a great experience. So fast forward, how did you get from the left coast to from the east coast to the left coast?
A couple things, but in the end, I decided to finish up. I had 2 more years of college left, and I finished up at the Claremont colleges.
Right.
And that got me to the West Coast, and I knew I sort of wanted to check out the West Coast sound.
Right.
So that was part of the mission, too.
From a pop point of view or a jazz point of view?
Probably more pop, but
Right.
yeah, of course, I always loved the jazz.
Singer-songwriters. and-
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, just everything about it. That so much music I listened to.
Right.
But
What did you study in college?
English literature.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you were, because
Yeah,
there's a
good
line,
career stuff.
line in your song about Eastern philosophy, so I thought maybe you were an
Nice.
Eastern philosophy
Maybe I did
major.
a little of that too. I studied Qigong for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Luckily, my college was kind of groovy. It was like a little paint your own major kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great school. That's kind of like the Ivy League of the West Coast.
Well, I wasn't at Pomona itself. I was at Pitzer College, but
Right.
it was pretty great. And then I met great people in the town too.
Right. You met your number one bro, Ben Harper, there,
Yes.
right? You guys were partners?
We got introduced I was going to school and he was working in the at his grandparents' folk music center.
Oh, that's his grandparents?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's
Legendary
epic history.
place.
Epic history. It's like the McCabe's of
Right.
it's part museum, part just great vibes. And we had a mutual friend that knew us and was like, "You two have to meet." You know, it's great.
That's great. And what's that been, 30 years or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
That's
were
awesome.
just talking about it because we put out a song that he was a friend of mine song. We did. Well, it's a cover. It's like traditional, but we are still putting out something that we'd put out. We put out other things, but we brought up the fact that it's been like 30 years. It's like, whoa.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So I know you played with an Austin band along the way, the Silos.
Yes.
Was that, you were already out here when you hooked up with them?
That
or
was an
how
interesting
did that happen?
That was a classic. That's another good bass story, because I was just graduated college. Literally, there's a barbecue in town. You know, in LA, everything happens at barbecues. That's the thing.
That's how we
That's
roll.
what they say.
That's what we do.
And jammed with the Silos, asked me to play, and I played bass with them that night. And they're like, "What are you doing for the next 5 years?" Like literally, like, "We're leaving in a week. Are you good?" Okay.
Right.
Okay, let's go.
Wow.
So I just started hit the road with them. Like, I think it was really a week and a half later. After.
Wow, that's amazing.
And for a long time, yeah.
Yeah, they were kind of like Americana before it was even Americana, the pioneers.
Yes, and they were also indie before indie was like a known thing and people knew how to navigate stuff. They were getting a lot of attention and press as an indie band.
Right.
Before that word now is like a normal word. It's more normal than
Yeah, it's almost
Non-indie.
everybody, right?
Yeah.
These days.
yeah. But they were paving their way. It was really really cool. I learned a lot from that whole time. And Walter Salas, Humira, and everyone was great stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we have a shared love of Venice. Mm-hmm. When did you hit Venice?
I came from the school of, if I'm going to move to the West Coast, I better live near the ocean. Like, that was my thought. Like, if I'm going to go all the way to L.A., and I had a lot of friends from New York the same way. We used to, like, spend summers on Long Island, Fire Island, and a lot of them ended up to, like, Venice was pretty much it.
Right.
Like that. And Venice, like most places that we know, was once a little more accessible, a little more cool, bohemian. And sort of big companies moved in. It changed a lot, you know.
Yeah.
But I do associate myself with Venice. In the same way, Austin was like this too, which I know you brought up Austin earlier. Austin was another town that was pretty bohemian and artisty and vibey, and then a couple of giant corporations moved in and sort
Right.
of changed the vibe of it a bit. You know,
Yeah.
still some great people there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's
Similar Venice.
It's
anyway.
hard to find that original Austin. You know, there's still
Yeah.
bits of it there, but
Yep.
it's pretty buried by
Yeah.
high tech and
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
That's why.
the companies generally find the cool places. They're like, oh, that's great. Let's
Yeah, quality of life.
move it in. All of a sudden, rent goes up. That's
Yeah,
pretty timely.
we started my studio, Mad Dog. We started in
yeah.
1980
Woo!
in Venice, and it was there from 80 to 95. And I lived Venice adjacent. I lived west of. I had a T-shirt that said everything east of Sepulveda sucks.
Awesome.
Which, sorry folks, I know this is very specific, but we're going to talk about it anyway.
And that's why you dug my East of Lincoln.
Yeah, Tom has a song called East of Lincoln that is like the story of 15 years of my life. And I love playing it with him. It's an amazing song. And there's an amazing video that I didn't even know existed
thanks,
that I
buddy.
just found.
Thanks.
And the opening shot and the closing shot of that video is basically from like looking out the front door to my studio.
That is so crazy. And that studio is so full of good vibes. By the time I recorded there,
Right.
after, okay, let me remember the name of the studio, with my friend John Wood, and what
Yeah,
was it
we
called?
moved out in 95. We moved to Burbank.
And literally they were still messing with the where the control panel was and the stuff that you left,
Right.
and they were talking about y'all. And I ended up recording my album Copper Moon there.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy small world
But it was
stuff.
so those, and then all of a sudden I'm playing a weekly gig there at the Venice West, and you joined me.
Yeah, which was just
Couple
a
months
trip.
ago.
Yeah,
Those
to
walls.
play with Tom in that building And to play the song East of Lincoln, which of course we played,
Yeah.
it was just like too much.
And it's right on Lincoln.
Yeah, right. 1717 Lincoln Boulevard, corner of Lincoln and Superba.
Epic.
Yeah.
Epic tales.
So you still live in the Venice adjacent area?
I'm more Culver City adjacent. I'm in an area called Palms.
Right.
There's no other way to say it. It's Palms.
Palms.
See?
Right.
So I moved way east as I got hurled to east of Lincoln.
Yeah, it's
A more affordable life, a little easier to get to the rest of LA too, and
yeah.
it was a decision I had to make because Venice was sort of getting a little
Yeah, it's got
changing.
pretty
It was changing, and that's what that song was really about. And that album, the album East of Lincoln too.
Yeah, when we were there, it was still really hippie bohemian,
Mm-hmm.
and then crack cocaine got invented,
Ah,
and that really changed the vibe, and it started getting scary and not so fun. Plus, you kind of age out of Venice, I think, a little bit. At least I did.
yeah.
You know, it's probably not the greatest place to raise kids.
Yeah,
I mean, you did it, so
well, it depends.
I didn't do it.
No,
so-
it was still kind of cool and a little cozier when I was
right when your
there.
daughter was
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely altered a little now, but yes, as we say, there's still some great people there, big time.
Yeah,
like,
I love it. I love
yeah.
going down there. It's a special place.
If I had a place in the canals, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah. Yeah. The album cover for East of Lincoln
Yes.
is just one of the most epic
Ah.
album covers ever.
Thanks.
So you can look it up yourself, and we'll put up some links at the end of this video.
Sweet.
And I won't even try to explain it. You have to just see it for yourself. But I was blown away when I
The
saw
album
it.
cover is West of Lincoln.
Right.
Therein lies the irony
Right.
and the drama.
Right. Right. Favorite bass players?
Ooh, well,
Got
there's-
any? Got one?
Well, there's I go right since I was playing the upright, I go right to like Charles Mingus
Right.
and Ron Carter, some of my
Two
favorite,
giants.
just unbelievable players that I've and then I go to rock players also, like John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin. Forget
Yeah.
it, he's one of my faves. I just think he's so solid. Then of course I love me some Jocko.
Yep.
And did I say the Jocko word?
Yep.
And there's newer guys in the upright too, who play upright and electric. John Patitucci, incredible. So yeah, real mix of stuff. But I'm a big fan of. I just love hearing good bass player.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter electric or upright, but it's still my favorite thing to obsess on when I see a band.
Yep. Nothing more fun than playing bass in a good band.
And that's the thing too.
And
Yeah.
a good drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's
It's
the
the
best.
best feel.
Cool. Cool. So when you're listening to stuff
Like you.
Oh,
like
well,
check
thank you,
out
Tom.
him.
yeah.
When we lock in on stage, this guy holds down. I mean, the room goes. Whew.
Well, it's a little intimidating playing Tom Freund songs, but you know, I do my best.
You kill him. It's very good.
And you always have great drummers too. So that makes
I've
it
been a
even
little
more
spoiled
fun.
with drums for sure.
Yeah. Well, L.A. You know,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
you know, lots of great drummers.
We deserve it.
An embarrassment of riches.
Yes,
Drummers in L.A.
it's true.
Yeah. Graham Parker.
Yeah.
Tell me about that chapter.
GP. I mean, I first met him, I think, in the Silos, actually. And then when I just did some gigs in New Orleans we did with him. And then when I put out my first record, North American Long Weekend, on Mercury, they put us on this songwriters in the round type thing. It was called Storytellers. Since Storytellers was the MTV, they called it Tellin' Stories. And they put us all on a tour bus. It was me and Graham Parker, and Radney Foster, and this cat, Jeff Black. And they put us on this tour bus. We played. It was incredible. So all of a sudden I was with one of my heroes.
Right.
And I was telling him about how I grew up, and like when I was literally like 12, 13, I'd be cranking, squeezing out Sparks, like
What an
on
amazing record.
I mean, there are other records too, but that was up there to me with like Squeeze Argy Bargy or something. I couldn't stop listening to it.
Right.
And I told him the tales, and he was really psyched. And then after that tour, he started playing with me on the road. He started like chiming in on my songs a little and saying,
cool.
"Tom,
What a thrill."
And then he goes, "Will you want to, basically I started opening up for him and then sitting in with him and his band for a bunch of shows. And
Right.
it just became great. And,
I actually saw you at Pappy and Harriet's.
With GP, cool. Yeah.
I was
I
at that
remember
show.
that one.
At our favorite bar out,
You're
out
right.
in the Joshua Tree area. Remember it well.
That's right.
And I didn't even know you then.
And didn't our
But it
friend
was
Ann
great.
open up that one? Ann?
Man, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Don't remember.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Just remember seeing
But-
you guys there.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. What's he doing now? Is
And
he
I
still
just
active?
put out a single called, I covered one of his songs called Disney's America. I don't know if you
yeah, I
caught that.
saw that today.
Yeah, that was, and he was really psyched about it. It was quite an honor because I was like, oh, I told him on like a gig upstate New York. We played it once, and I was playing piano and singing. I was like, I'm going to put that out one day if you
Right.
don't mind. He's like, come on, Tom. And then he got me very excited when he listened to my song, my version. He goes, Tom, I'm well chuffed.
I'm well chuffed. I
I'm well
love that.
chuffed. This is banging. You know.
That's
I
great.
was like, oh, okay.
That's great.
And
Is he
so-
still gigging? And
Yeah, he's still playing. I think pandemically speaking, he obviously took quite a hiatus, but I think he's now playing some shows now, and he's back in the UK. He'd been in upstate, and
right.
so I think he's going to do some shows. Yeah,
He's amazing.
and maybe I'll join him for some. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. Squeezing Out Sparks and what was the one after that? Up the Down Escalator?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got those both on vinyl.
Oh, forget
and
it.
wore out the cassette in my car.
See?
Oh, yeah. Just love them.
Love those songs, and it was cool. I think he liked it also that I covered a later Graham song, "The Disney's America." It was like
Right.
not from the obvious choice, like wasn't covering Discovering Japan or something. I
Right.
was doing like an old, and because I just thought it was an incredible song about it's kind of East of Lincoln in the way of like what
Right, but
happened
for the
to
whole country.
Disney's America, what happened to America and Virginia, and
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, I listened to it today when I was kind of
Oh,
prepping
cool.
for this and
sweet.
really liked it. It's
Oh,
great.
cool.
It's great. So you, like so many artists, have had to learn how to engineer. What was that? And do your own recording. What was
Yes.
that journey like?
It started with like someone invited me to this jingle house named Mophonics in Venice, and they wanted me to. It was someone who used to come to my Stronghold every week, Stronghold gig that I played every week, and they wanted me just to like be on the team. And they're like, you know how to record? And I'm like, yep.
Right.
And I got two of my friends to go in there and like, basically, for the first 3 days of my working there, I just had them show me everything, and
Right.
that was it. I took it from there, and then I had a little home studio. So I had a little studio there for a while, and then just my home studio, and I've been doing a lot of stuff for my albums, also for this. I did a lot of stuff from the home for the Pete the Cat TV show I work on. I was able to just do stuff, and I basically live in a studio. It's a studio with a couple bedrooms.
Right.
The kitchen is used in recording.
Right. That's great.
The
That's
living
way
room
it's
is
done.
great for tracking piano.
Yeah, that's the way it's done these
Yeah.
days, right?
Mhm.
Gonna have
And
to
it was
do
very handy during this crazy time.
Yeah, it's funny.
Pandemania, for
Right.
sure.
It's funny because we just had Doug Pettibone on that. One of the things we talked about is like you just always say yes. Can you do something?
Of course.
Yes, I can.
It was
For
nice.
him, it was pedal steel.
Right.
He got the Jewel gig, his
Great.
first big tour.
Yeah.
They said, "Can you play pedal steel?" And he was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And he just had bought one, hadn't
Perfect
really
timing.
cracked it,
And what better time?
learned how
than
to play
during-
those two songs, and boom.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So kids out there, always say yes.
Say yes,
and then figure it
then
out.
work hard.
Yeah, and work hard.
I did some nice bass. A couple of people sent me their songs to play bass on from my home rig
Right.
during the Pandemania.
Yeah, I watched a couple of your live
Oh, those were
broadcasts.
fun. Yeah.
Those were fun.
The Fridays with Freund.
Yep. Those are good. Keep your
They were good for
sanity.
me too. Exactly. As you maybe could tell, I was keeping myself sane
Yep.
during an insane time.
So what's coming up? You got a new record coming out, right?
I do.
What's the story?
Well, so I put out the Graham Parker song was the first single in a sense from that record, and then I'm putting out another single called Rebound in like 2 weeks, and but it's a thematic record. It's called The Year I Spent in Space, and it kind of, if you know what I mean,
Yep.
kind of what we've been dealing with, and that's also the title track. It's also the name of one of the songs. So I'm putting out a few singles first. Again, doing all my own how to put stuff out these days. So
Right.
I'm trying a few singles first, and then put out the album eventually.
Cool. Well, hopefully you'll call me for some gigs and I'll get to learn some of them.
I like this.
Yeah.
Year I spent in space. Let's do it.
I'll do it. I'll be there.
That
I'll learn
means
them.
a lot. Wow.
I
You
will
heard
learn
it
'em.
here.
Yep.
He
It's
said
commitment.
he said he'd do the gig.
Sign me up.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming over and hanging out with us and for playing the songs. and-
I'm so excited to be here, and,
Great
and
to
your
have you here.
microphones. I can't wait to hear this stuff with my headphones when I get home, because I know it's going to kill.
Yep.
I mean, it was recorded properly.
Microphones we got.
Yeah,
That we have a handle on. Our David Royer's pretty good with microphones.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, buddy.
Hey,
Appreciate you.
you rock, man.
See you next time, folks. Adios.
Mojave Mikes.